So, welcome, ladies and gents. Avatar Fire and Ash is going to be released tomorrow at the time of recording this, but I think there's also going to be some previews today at the time of recording this. So, box office predictions are in, and it's looking obviously very positive for this movie. This movie will make a lot of money, naturally. In fact, if it crosses 2 billion, or it makes 2 billion, this will be a record, like a smash hit record, something which will go down in history. So, worthwhile covering this for those people that are interested in Avatar Fire and Ash. So, let's just dive right into it, shall we, ladies and gents? As this article notes, that the Avatar first one, grossed 2.9 billion in 2009. Now, that figure includes a few re-releases, so it's not quite 2.9 billion in 2009. But then Avatar The Way of Water made a similarly huge amount, and it is huge, 2.3 billion. So obviously people are wondering what's going to happen with Fire and Ash. I did take a look at this very interesting article from Deadline, and actually James Cameron doesn't seem to think, at least he's hedging his bets anyway, doesn't seem to think that this will do... He doesn't think it's a slam dunk, basically, right? You know, there's talk here. Jim, you've said that Fire and Ash is the conclusion of a particular arc. I know you're holding off on the next two Avatar films to see how this one does. But if you do decide to do films 4 and 5, what might be in store for Jake? So, you know, it looks like he's only got financing up until this one. And then he goes on to talk about, in terms of the box office, sequels. So, he says, I think sequel triggers certain reflexes in an audience where, because most sequels that are ever made, they have an unexpected hit. Then they scramble around and they try to write some story based on, which that's completely true, right? But then he says about this, about the market. So the market's shifting, the ground is shifting under our feet right now in the entertainment business with respect to cinema. What it means: the younger demos are shifting their habit patterns. We rely on them, of course, because they've got the energy to get up out of their homes and go out and get some friends and pay for the parking and actually show up. You know what I mean? But they also grew up with streaming, coming of age in the age of streaming. Habit patterns are shifting. Now, he says this claim, I don't know whether I completely agree with it, but it's worthwhile mentioning. We're running about 30 to 35% below where we were pre-COVID right now, and it seems to have plateaued. It's not descending, but it's not rebounding. That's my analysis. Seems to be true almost everywhere. So, just as an FYI, I agree that most box office, most movies are struggling right now at the box office. I think most people will agree with that. I don't think it's a COVID issue, and I don't think it's a streaming issue. I think it's because the movies are shit. I think that's it. I think that's the only reason why, actually, is that the movie's coming out of poo. So he continues further, and I say 35% because people are saying 25%, but they're forgetting that ticket prices went up. So, and he's right, this is all completely right, but I think he's missing the point as to why people aren't going to the cinema. So when you look at absolute admissions, it's actually more like we're down about a third right now. And that could be the entire margin of a film like Avatar, which is mental to think. So, if you lose a third of your box office, that's the movie done, basically. It hasn't made any money. So he says, so let's let the dust clear on this one. Maybe we'll make some money, maybe we don't. But we'll look at the business model and we'll see how we can tinker with that business model. Maybe by bringing costs down with some new technology. That would be my focus. Everybody says, what's the new technology that you use in this film? It's like, no, we're at 100%, guys. Anything that we can imagine, we can do. It's just a question of how much it costs and how long it takes. And it's really the length, because 90% of the cost of VFX is labor. So that which takes twice as long costs twice as much. It's pretty simple. So I agree with all of this, by the way. Like, I just think he's maybe the focus on why admissions are down and why the box office is down like a third is a little bit... I think he's a little bit off kilter, but it's worth mentioning in this video about box office, right? So, according to Variety, current projections indicate a $90 million to $105 million opening weekend in North America, with an additional $250 million to $275 million from overseas, which is huge. That's massive. So that means the James Cameron Helm's threequel is on track for a $340 million or $365 million start worldwide. And a big percentage of ticket sales are expected to come from IMAX and 3D screens. I hate these movies in 3D, but whatever. And the thing is, they say this, the Avatar movies aren't exactly known for record-breaking opening weekends. The first movie made only $77 million in 2009, went on to earn $760 million stateside. Way of Water debuted with $134 million, before eventually wrapping domestic run with $688. So there is a decline, right? There is absolutely declining interest in these movies. That is, you can't argue with it. It's not debatable. You know, the fact that domestic, first one went on to earn $760 million, and then years later, $688 million. That's a big drop-off, right? It's a big drop-off, especially when ticket prices have gone up. That is a big drop. So, with Fire and Ash likely to open around the $100 million mark, interest in the franchise appears to have decreased since The Way of Water. But this is only a projection, so who knows? However, when that arrived in theatres, fans have been waiting 13 years for another Avatar movie, so this isn't necessarily cause for concern. And the thing, so this is the statement from Variety. They say, should Fire and Ash chart a similar box office path, assuming the butt-numbing runtime of 3 hours and 17 minutes? Jesus. Doesn't intimidate audiences this time around either. Avatar could become the first film franchise in history with 3 installments to earn above $2 billion, which would be huge. A massive, massive undertaking for James Cameron. That's a massive, massive deal. What a brilliant accolade to add to your belt. So currently Avatar is tied with the MCU as both Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame grossed over $2 billion. But Cameron has the potential for 3 films to hit that benchmark. Well, he has already. Titanic as well. But he has the potential for 4 films to hit there. And this will be the first time, a film franchise has hit over $2 billion. So there you go. I think it's interesting. I genuinely think this is interesting. The fact that James Cameron acknowledges that the box office is down. I think he is hedging his bets for a potential decrease in the profit. He's literally estimating a third, which is huge. That's massive. So I don't have much else to say. It's interesting. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. What do you think this is going to do box office wise? I will say I'm not going to be going to watch this movie and review it. I'm fairly certain I won't. I don't really care for these movies, and I genuinely don't know if I can be bothered with 3 hours and 17 minutes. Just being fully transparent, it's a long ass time. That's a long time. That's a long time it's an hour either way. That's a whole day just watching a movie. It's mental. Anyway, don't have much else to say. Leave your thoughts down below though. Take care. Bye bye now.